Heck of a week here on First Take, but it hasn't been such a good week for Giannis Antetokounmpo, who was officially ruled out of tonight's matchup with the Brooklyn Nets, the Bucks' final home game of the season. He had made a request to play one final time, potentially, in Milwaukee with his brothers Thanasis and Alex. That is not going to be granted for the rest of this season. Who knows about the future? But David, the way this has all been handled, I know you have an interesting take about the Bucks versus Giannis saga.
I'm glad Perk is here to witness this because Giannis and the Bucks front office are suffering from a chronic case of failing to stand on business. And as a result, they have wasted 365 days of all of our lives because this should have been handled last summer when Giannis wanted to leave Milwaukee but did not want to look like the bad guy. And Milwaukee should have moved on from Giannis to get as many picks as they could, but did not want to look like the bad organization. They didn't want to look like bad guys. They didn't want their fans to be miserable. They didn't want to hate each other. A year later, both of them look like the bad guys. Their fans hate them, and they hate each other. And Giannis, midway through the season, is putting double thumbs down to his own fans. They are not winning any games. Giannis is injured. His stock has fallen a little bit in terms of their return for what they can get from him. And everybody in the Milwaukee metropolitan area is miserable and more miserable than they would have been last year if everybody had made peace, moved on from each other, let Giannis go try to win a championship, let Milwaukee get as many draft picks as they could, build to the future, start building his statue, start hanging his jersey, and leave peacefully. Instead, this has become an ugly divorce because they wanted to stay together for the kids, and the kids being the fans, and everybody's miserable.
That's cute. No, look, it's not an easy decision to make to trade Giannis Antetokounmpo. And I won't say that Giannis messed it up. I might say the New York Knicks messed it up by trading all their draft capital for Mikal Bridges because had they held on to it, had they not gotten a little too thirsty, they would have had the draft capital that the Milwaukee Bucks would have wanted. Giannis would be in New York, and this would be a totally different ballgame. But I'm with you. This is, like I said before, I love R&B breakup songs. Neither one of us wants to be the first to say goodbye. That's all.
Perk, you got a little Gladys Knight in you too?
I got a lot. Gladys Knight, Isley Brothers, but listen, here's the thing. This relationship has run its course. I agree with Vinny and David when you talk about holding on too long. This should have happened before this season. The trade should have happened. They should have parted ways. It should have happened at the trade deadline. Now, here's the problem, right? The problem is that nobody wanted to be the bad guy. We get that part of it. Giannis Antetokounmpo, if he would have came out publicly and said he wanted out, he wouldn't have looked like the bad guy. You want to know why? Because he has done everything and more for that organization in the city of Milwaukee, on and off the floor. When you talk about delivering the championship, check. Winning the MVP, check. Defensive Player of the Year, check. Finals MVP, check. And then look at the growth of the city. See, I put Giannis in the same conversation with guys like LeBron and Steph when you talk about powerful over popular. Powerful players move the needle from an economic standpoint. They got a new arena. We see new condos, new restaurants, all that because of Giannis Antetokounmpo and the winning and what he's brought to the city of Milwaukee. It has to happen. I believe this relationship is over. I do not want to go into next season talking about Giannis and the Bucks. It has to be over. Now, I'm going to say this, last thing. You know who's the biggest winner? Who's the biggest winner in all of this? Is the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks. That's why they're not under any pressure, in my opinion, this postseason, because they're really playing with house money. They know that Giannis Antetokounmpo wants to be in New York. So now you take this team that is a championship caliber team. Hold on, feel me out. That is a championship caliber team, and you go make a run and try to go win the NBA championship. Guess what? If you fall short, you got enough pieces to go trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo and run it back for the next 2-3 years with him and Jalen Brunson leading the charge.
Perk, my brother, I was with you. I was all the way there with you, and then you just happened to just go a little left. I don't think the Knicks are playing with house money. I know they fired their coach last year because they didn't get to the finals. Karl Towns is under an amount of pressure because they didn't get to the finals and have to get to the finals this year. Same for Mikal Bridges. Like, you can't wait on Giannis Antetokounmpo with the health issues that he's had since winning that title. He's had years where he hasn't played in the playoffs. He's had years like this year where he's battling calf injuries. So to assume that he's going to be a premium health by you waiting a year, or to assume that the Bucks are going to hand him over to you just because you're the Knicks, is a fool's errand, because it's a lot of other teams that have draft picks and assets that they could trade him to. If you're the Knicks, you better focus on handling your own damn business.
Yeah. All right. Let's leave it here, because this is a saga is putting a bow on it now. But I got you, Lucky, on this one. We'll get into some of the NBA season is upon us. So let's go around the room here. What are you guys most intrigued to see as the NBA regular season ends out?
I'm excited to see how the bottom half of the East in that play-in tournament sort of shapes out. For years, it'd been boring. It'd been the Trae Young Invitational, the South Beach Classic. Does you see the same teams in
the
there?
Bulls Invitational.
Right, the Bulls to see who's going to get swept in the first round. Now you have some real compelling teams in that play-in, starting with the Charlotte Hornets, which has been one of the best teams in the league since All-Star, and they're going to be a team that is absolutely entertaining no matter how far they go come playoff time. They're going to give somebody fits. I cannot wait to see how they look, where the Hawks end up, because the Hawks have been on a roll. There are some really compelling teams in that East that are going to make for some really great first-round matchups, namely LaMelo Ball making his playoff debut. I can't wait for it.
9 seed Charlotte. I would love to see that game. What about you, Vinny?
I'm looking at the Western Conference. I want to see if Denver stays at 3. Because if they slide to 4, they go in the crosshairs of Oklahoma City in round 2. If Oklahoma City stays at 1 and it's Houston and LA in that 4-5, they have a bye to the Western Conference Finals, while San Antonio and Denver duke it out in the second round. I want to see if that holds or if there's some shifting in that 3-4-5 spot.
Burke, what about you?
Yeah, I'm looking at the West, to be honest, and I'm looking at one team in particular, and that's the Los Angeles Clippers, and where they're going to land and how they're going to end the season, and when they get into the play-in tournament, because they're going to get into the postseason, who are they going to match up with? Because we know right now Kawhi Leonard, one could argue, is the most dangerous man in the NBA.
Yep, that's a 7-8 matchup as it currently stands in the West. Phoenix Suns and the LA Clippers. A lot of good basketball, a lot of good golf with the Masters. We'll have you updated all